Okay, so today we've got Unit 4, Lesson 3 practice problems. Okay, we're looking right now, and it takes an ant farm 3 days to consume half of an apple. At this rate, how many days will the ant farm consume 3 apples? So this is a very simple ratio proportion problem. We know that we're comparing the number of days to the number of apples. So I'm going to set that up as days over apples. They tell us that it takes 3 days to consume half of an apple. And I'm going to set that equal to, what are we looking for? We're looking for how long it will take to consume 3 apples. And the thing we don't know is right here. So, as always, we are going to be cross-multiplying to find our answer. So, I've got 1/2 times x is 1/2 x equals 3 times 3. 1/2 x equals 9. I know I'm going to be dividing both of these by 1/2. These cancel. I'm left with x equals 9 divided by 1/2. Of course, I'm going to make that into a fraction. And now I'm going to do my math Macarena. Keep the first, flip the second. Now you multiply. Keep the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom. 9 times 2 is 18. 1 times 1 is 1. So I know that x equals 18 days. And there's your answer. Next, we're making a shade of paint called Jasper Green. We're going to mix 4 quarts of green with 2/3 cup of black. We want to know how much green to be mixed with 4 cups of black to make Jasper Green. Again, same thing again. Very simple ratio. So I'm going to be comparing the amount of green paint to the amount of black paint that I need. They gave us a ratio of 4 quarts green to 2/3 cups of black paint. And they know that we are going to be using 4 cups of black paint. So 4 goes on the bottom. X is what's missing. I'm going to be cross-multiplying to be finding the answer here. So I've got 2/3 times x is 2/3 x equals 4 times 4. So 2/3 x equals 16. To solve that, I'm going to be dividing both sides by 2/3. 2/3 divided by 2/3 cancels, gives me 1 or just x. So I've got x is equal to 16 divided by 2/3. I'm going to go ahead and put my 16 over 1. Math Macarena tells me to keep the first, flip the second, then you multiply. Keep the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom. 16 times 3, of course, is 48. 1 times 2 is 2. I go ahead and reduce that or divide, either way you want to think about it. And x is going to equal 48 divided by 2, of course, it's 24 quarts of green. Next problem. We have an airplane flying from New York City to LA. It travels a distance in miles of d. related to time in seconds. And here's my equation, d equals 0.15t. So the first question basically is an interpretation of the equation. How fast is it flying? And of course we're going to include the units. So the constant of proportionality, or the only number we're given, is that 0.15. So the only thing we need to do is understand, well, if we're taking that 0.15 and multiplying it times the time, that of course tells me that that's how far it's going per second. So it's going 0.15 miles per second. That's its speed. How far will it travel in 30 seconds? Well, I am going to go ahead and take the original equation that I was given and substitute in, because it gives me that d equals 0.15t, and we're given 30 seconds. I have to say to myself, is seconds distance or time? Well, obviously it's time, so t is equal to 30. So now every time I see a t, I simply write 30. So that means I'm going to have d is equal to 0.15 times, can't just write the 30, a number next to a variable means to multiply. So 0.15 times 30. Take out your calculator and go ahead and do that. So you should have done that in your calculator, and you find out that the distance is 4.5 miles. Next one, how long will it take to go 12.75 miles? Again, I'm going to be substituting right into that equation that they gave me. So I'm going to rewrite my equation, d equals 0.15t. And it's asking me how long is it going to take to go 2.75 miles. Is miles distance or is it time? Of course it's distance. So my equation is 12.75 equals 0.15t. Hopefully you know how to solve this. I know there's a number next to a variable. That means to multiply. The opposite, of course, of multiplying is dividing. I'm just rewriting it over here so you can see it piece by piece. So if I'm multiplying by 0.15, it makes sense that I should divide both sides by 0.15. These two cancel. I'm left with t equals, as always, use that calculator, 12.75 divided by 0.15 is 85, and that our time is in seconds. And now a grocer can buy strawberries for $1.38 per pound, and I want to write an equation relating the cost and the pounds of strawberries. So I know it's $1.38 per pound. So if I think about this, I know that I'm going to take that number of pounds and multiply it times $1.38. So it tells me right here that pounds is P, so I know I'm going to have 1.38 P, that means they're multiplied together, equals C, the total cost. And now they give me a number, which is the total cost, and I'm simply going to take that equation that I wrote and substitute in and solve it. So my equation is 1.38p equal to C. What did they give us? Is that the total cost, or the cost per pound? That's not what I meant. Is that the total cost or the number of pounds? Well, it tells it's right there. It's the cost. So that means that C is equal to 241.50. So I'm going to take that and substitute in. Every time I see a C, I know exactly what I'm going to write. So I'm going to have $1.38. P equals 241.50. I know that the number times the number times the variable means it's being multiplied, so I'm simply going to divide both sides by that number, which is 1.38. These two cancel. I'm left with P equals, grab that calculator, and you should get 175, and that's 175 pounds of strawberries. Wow, I really like strawberries, but that is a lot of strawberries.